All right, so to get started, there's 3 feet of string here. Bead weaving is a form of double needle, right angle weave, where not all the angles are right and you don't use any needles. So it's a little misnomer, but that's the basic idea. You're going to work with a single piece of thread that's like 3 feet long, and I'm going to do it without instructions, so I need to pay attention just a little bit to what I'm doing. But I'll walk step by step through. So the first step is to pick up 2 crystals, and we're going to cross our threads through another crystal. Okay. This is probably like step number 2, is cross your threads through a crystal. You notice that when we cross our threads through a crystal, they go through the crystal in opposite directions. So it makes like a little X. Okay. And you're going to center your loop. I have a 3-bead loop on the ring. Then I'm going to pick up a crystal and cross my threads through another one. So probably that's like steps 3 and 4. Crossing through a crystal means you have to pick up a new crystal and cross your threads through it. Okay. So. And basically what this kind of bead weaving is making a 3-dimensional shape out of rings of beads that are built on top of each other, connected to each other. Okay, so I have 2 rings now that are 3 beads each. Okay. Now on my right thread, I'm going to string 3 beads. Okay. I think I need to put my mag eyes on. And I'm going to cross my threads through another crystal. Okay, so what this will make is a 5-bead ring that you will see in 1 second. Okay, so the ring of beads that I just made, I don't know if you can see it, here we go. The ring of crystals that I just made has 5 beads in it. Okay. Then with my left string, that's the string in my left hand, I'm going to go through an adjacent bead. So that means going through a bead that's already there, and that's kind of next to where my thread is coming out from. Okay. And we explain how to find or determine which is the correct adjacent bead to go into in the instructions. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up 2 more crystals and cross my threads through 1 more. So again, I'm making another 5-bead ring here. Like this. Okay. And I'm going to repeat that step 1 more time, go through an adjacent crystal with my left string. It helps to be able to use your left hand pretty well, so you can steer the thread through the bead. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up 2 crystals and cross my threads through another one. There you go. Okay. And so this is going to, what the next step I'm going to do is going to actually close up the berry or the section of rings that I'm currently making. So I'm going to go through 2 adjacent crystals. And please don't try to use this video to actually make a strawberry, because I don't think that it's like super possible to just go by my talking. So I'm going to go through the next 2 adjacent. That's why we have the PDF with step-by-step instructions. I'm just showing you how kind of easy this is to do. You know, you have to take it step by step. Okay, so I picked up a crystal with my right thread, and I'm going to cross threads through. And I should have what looks like the start of a strawberry. You can kind of see it taking shape here. Okay. And if you look at the top edge of your piece, you should have 8 crystals in a ring. Okay. All right. And make sure that the point of the berry is kind of sticking out like this, like a little sharp point. Okay. Now we're going to get started on the next layer of rings. This is going to be a layer of 8 rings that consist of 4 beads each. So on my right string, I'm stringing 2 crystals, and then I'm going to cross my threads through a third one. Like this. So you can see this ring that I just made here has 4 crystals in it. Okay. Then with my left thread, that's a thread in my left hand, I'm going to go through a neighboring crystal. Just one. And with my right string, I'm going to string a crystal, and then I'm going to cross my threads through another one. So we're starting to build up the next layer of the wall that's making up our strawberry. So we're going to repeat this step 5 more times. Now, if it's easier for you to keep track of how many times you do this, it's good to partition 5 sets of beads like this. So 5 sets of 2. That way you know that once you use them all up, then your 5 repeating steps are done. So I'm going to go through an adjacent crystal here, and we're working only on that top edge of 8 original that were at the top edge of your ring here. So I'm going to go through an adjacent bead, then I'm going to pick up one of my pairs, string one on the right string, cross through. Alright, so that was my 5th repeat. Now I have to close up this particular layer of rings. Okay, so there's like one little crystal left that was part of the 8. So I'm going to go through that one and through the first crystal that was strung on this layer. So I'm going to go through the next 2 adjacent beads. 1, 2. Okay. And then I'm just going to cross my threads through a crystal. Okay. So if you look here, we have most of our berry built. I used up pretty much all the berry colored crystals that I'm going to for this project. I have 3 left over, which is good. Okay, then I'm going to take my right string and go through an adjacent crystal that's on the top edge of my piece, like this. So now my threads are going through 2 different crystals. Then I'm going to do the layer of leaves. So I'm going to string on my leaf and a green crystal. And I'm going to cross my threads through another leaf. So I'm adding 2 leaves in this step. Like this. Okay. And the leaves, because they're drilled on the edge, they stick out nicely, so they don't just go along the piece like this. They'll have a little bit of sticking out definition. Swarovski actually used to make a 6mm crystal Rivoli that was just like this, and you could have used that for a leaf, which we did for a while, and it was super cute. Then you could have a totally crystal strawberry, but we know what happened there. We couldn't get those anymore. So we had a bunch of these check glass lentils pressed for us in specifically strawberry leaf colors. So we have like a ton of these. Okay, so I went through 2 adjacent crystals on the top edge of my berry, stringing another green crystal, and I'm going to cross through a leaf. So I'm going to go through 2 adjacent crystals on the top edge with my left thread. Okay, I'm going to string another green crystal and cross through another leaf. So you're only going to need 4 leaves for this. So we did have 2 extra, which is good in case we dropped it or if something was a little defective. Okay, here we go. So I have my leaves on top. And now I need to close up this particular layer. The way we do that is we're going to take our left string and we're going to go through the 2 adjacent crystals on the top edge of your berry. Okay, and then we're also going to go up through the first leaf that we strung. So, okay. Now, when you think about it, your, ooh, I missed that. I have to fix this. Hold on. When you think about it, we just made a hollow shape. Okay. And so if you didn't weave very tightly, your shape would be kind of squishy, and that's okay. That's not a problem. Go. I missed my 2 adjacent crystals, so I had to take that out. Okay. So now I have my 2 strings exiting the top of my berry. Because it made a little pocket, I'm going to pop my bell that's included in the kit into the strawberry. And you want to have the ring kind of sticking out so that you can clip it onto something. Then I'm going to cross my threads through the last crystal, green one. Just like this. Okay, so you want to a little bit adjust the tension so that the ring sticks out almost all the way. You don't want it buried in your strawberry. Like so. Okay, I'm going to take one of the strings and I'm going to go through the 3 crystals that are the green ones at the top of the strawberry towards the other thread end. And then I'll be able to knot the ends together. Okay, so we're going to go through adjacent green crystals at the top of the berry. I'm going to go through 3 of them. Two. And 3. Okay, and then you can see, well, if you can't see, I'll tell you, my 2 threads are exiting neighboring crystals right next to each other. So this is a point where I can tie them together in a square knot. Okay, so this is how you kind of end all of your bead weaving pieces, by having your threads exit neighboring crystals. And then you can tie a square knot. Okay. There we go. Now, if you read the instructions of the strawberry or any other of our other bead weaving projects, if you read through them, we do talk about reinforcing your piece, which basically it means we don't want to cut our thread right now next to this knot. We want to run our threads, both ends, back through a few crystals on each end before trimming the threads away. Now, if you're, and that's called reinforcing your piece. Basically, if your piece is very squishy and your tension wasn't so good, if you reinforce your piece and you fill up your bead holes with more string, it will firm up your piece a lot, because then the beads can't wiggle so much and you'll bring them tighter, closer to each other. and then your tension will be really nice and it'll improve, and then you can have a nice firm strawberry. I'm not going to show that part because it does take a while. I could attach needles at this point to help steer it through the piece because it's already woven. I find that needles on the thread as I'm weaving, they kind of get in the way, but to actually steer it back through a woven piece like this, it's a lot easier to put a couple of beading needles on the end and then just use it to run your thread ends back through some of the beads. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration. I'm glad I was able to remember how to do this without the written instructions nearby.